We talk a lot about telling our story, and so one of the things that I remember Becca said to me that was kind of profound was, you know, I don't know if I can say it. Do you want to say it?
We wanted to try to reach as many groups and activities throughout the school, so whether it's the varsity football team or the quiz bowl team, like everyone feels like their story is being told here at Seward High because we enable students to tell their story no matter what group they're a part of.
And we always say too, if your story is not being told, like I use the example of cheerleaders because that actually happened. One of the cheerleaders was kind of like, we're never on social media. You know, how come we're never on there? Well, they have a representative, but that representative was not posting very much. And so it becomes their story to tell, right? Rather than relying on someone else to tell your story. So you'll notice like if girls soccer is getting a lot of press, well, that's because their representative is going above and beyond and doing some behind the scenes things. And then it hopefully motivates people who are on the other, maybe baseball or whatever, to do more. So, and then these are just a few of our groups. When we talk about showing up for each other, just a couple group pictures. I have a couple of these in my office too, like where it's not just the volleyball team, it's all our student section, everybody's showing up for each other. And this is just another example of that, where I was telling you that the girls basketball team showed up for a music concert. That's them up by our Blue Jay. And then this happens to be our football coach at his very first marching band competition. And so he's there watching that as well, and he happened to be sitting in front of me, so I just snapped a picture of him there. I thought that was cool.
So my job for the social media team is a little bit more behind the scenes than other people. I'm asking students in the school / making them, because it's the first year. I mean, you kind of have to get students involved the quickest way you can. So I'm recruiting from our school and organizing spreadsheets and stuff like that.
And leadership is really a good thing. That's another reason why Becca was a good choice, because it has to be someone who's not afraid to go and say, hey, you need to keep doing what you're supposed to do. Or if not, then we'll in a positive way, but we'll find someone else who wants to do it. When it's all volunteers, they have to want to do it.
Mm-hmm. So this is Bryson and I at our first football game that we covered. It was kind of the very first time that we introduced the social media team to the high school. So we had our badges and we just were tweeting from our phones from that game, just Bryson and I, and it's kind of expanded into, we probably have between 25 and 30 representatives for a single like season, like a fall season or a spring season.
And I don't know, you guys probably don't have your badges. I did put one badge there that's more of a generic badge. They all have badges with their names on them that they carry around.
You made us give those back.
Did I?
Yeah, you want the plastic piece back.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How did the students react at the beginning of this? Were they completely on board? Were they hesitant to go with it?
I would say that finding the right personnel is very important. So you obviously have the students in your high school that are like, this is stupid, why would we ever want to do this? But then you have the people who are very interested in, they're like, yeah, let's do it, like I want to be a part of this. So I guess it's really just finding the right people to do what you need to have happen.
Yeah. And like I said, these guys kind of came naturally where I asked Becca, and that just happened to work out well. And I don't think she knew, nor did I know what she was getting into. Bryson saw that and said, hey, I want to be a part of it, but he took a very different role. Jonathan was already doing the video, but we now have a video production team. It's very official, but, and again, we have sometimes have 20 kids show up to a meeting, only about 7 of them end up doing anything. So now our team is 7 hard workers, you know, and we keep getting more in and out. We have had students that'll say, yeah, I want to do that, and then they don't follow through. And so that's where it's just kind of politely just, yeah, I don't really think this is probably for you, or do you want to keep doing it? And they'll usually say, maybe not. But there's usually someone else who wants to step up and do it. So
I will say at the beginning it was a lot more of Bryson and I going around and asking people if they wanted to be a part of it. And the spring season rolled around and I opened my email and I had like 5 people, hey, can I be the golf team representative? So word travels fast in a small town. So
and I think like the ability to do it and have fun with it. So
This is our first social media team for the fall season, so this is gonna be your football, volleyball, what else goes on, bowling,
Cross country.
cross country,
FBLA.
softball.
Yeah.
So this is just the first
One act.
team, so it's expanded. I would say throughout the whole year, we probably have 50 students involved total. And that's between the video production crew and social media team. So there's a lot more than just who's posting, it's behind the scenes too.
Mhm. And it's cool, like when you talk about, are they really on board? The gal here, she's second row, kind of the light green shirt on. She was a freshman who just agreed to do softball because her sister's a starting pitcher, so she knew she was gonna be at every varsity game, but not playing, so she could do it. She ended up being probably our most reliable student, really enjoyed it, got into adding emojis, taking pictures, but we could just always count on her. They were always coming through. And now she's gonna be in the multimedia class next year and is excited about that. And I think that's something she never would have thought about doing otherwise. She kind of just did it by default and then did a great job.
I will say one thing, when one of the problems we encountered is the best representatives are ones who are involved in the sport and know about it, but not competing at the varsity level. So like we had somebody for One Acts that wasn't a part of One Acts, was never a part of them, just kind of wanted to do it. And it was kind of one of those kids that we had to tell, maybe this isn't for you because they weren't covering it. But then you get people like Lauren Para, the softball representative, who's a part of it, knows the sport very well, so can provide information in like a short, quick, easy way for Twitter, so.
Yeah, they have to know the event, otherwise their tweets aren't good. Which is one reason, like Bryson did football for us. He's awesome because he keeps all the stats. I don't know if you just keep them on your phone or in your head or whatever,
Just
but
my phone.
yeah. So after every quarter, he's got who's got the touchdowns, the interceptions, fumble recoveries, whatever. Not something he has to do, but people really grew to like that. And then we were like, make sure you do that, Bryson, every time. So it was good.
So this is what I do for the social media team. This is our spreadsheet of all of the representatives for each activity, because keeping track of 40-some kids can be very hard if you're not organized. So I would say that's a big, big key in a successful social media team is staying organized.
Hey, Amber.
So
You guys, this is Ember. Ember's a junior, and Ember's gonna be our social media intern next year, so she's coming in, like I told you, to listen and learn. So don't be afraid to ask questions too, Ember. See what you got yourself into.
So if you scroll down, you can see how during the seasons, the colors will change. So green means go. Green are the sports or activities that are in session right now. And then we had it color-coded, so we had somebody who was able to do the tweets for speech, but she hadn't been trained yet. So that's why it was red, saying we have somebody, but we need to train them on how to do it. So
And that was one that didn't end up turning out.
mhm.
So really the speech teachers just were texting information to me, but they were both new this year, and so I said, okay. Where last year I was doing all the tweets, Mr. Moody, Mr. Axton, and I were doing all the tweets for everything at school, so.
Yep.
I don't know, if you guys have questions on any of that stuff, just be sure to let us know.
Then do you just share that document with everybody, or is that one just for your
This
purposes?
one's mainly, really
Just
mainly probably just Becca and
For
I.
you, okay.
I think we
Just to
had
see
shared it.
who's trained and not trained.
Yeah, and that we have somebody.
Who's signed up for what.
Yeah, we have, and I'll even tell you, like baseball, we had 2 people agree to do it, and really Lily, it just hasn't worked out well. But we had 2 who were interested, so we said yes to both of them and gave one of them pregame and extras. And then it just hasn't worked out for Lily, so Bailey's kind of just risen to
Taking the
the
whole thing.
occasion, yeah.
In the first year of something like this, it's hard to turn people down since it's such a new thing. But again, it's finding the right people to do the things that you need.
And you also don't know who's gonna be good at it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Lauren, the freshman at softball, I didn't necessarily have any expectations for her. I didn't know her, she's young, whatever. She did awesome. And we did ask coaches and teachers to pick their sponsors. That's not always best either. Because what they'll do is they'll say, oh, I'm gonna pick Bryson for the basketball team. Well, Bryson's playing basketball. And so he can't give, he's not giving updates in the huddle, at halftime and stuff. So it really needs to be somebody else. Now, Ember's done soccer for us, and we did have a student manager who was supposed to do mid-game updates, who hasn't always followed through, but Ember always does them after the game, so at least we have game finals, and she always has some fun pictures and stuff in there too. So, that process didn't work the best either. This spring, we did put in the announcements, like, I still need someone for baseball and soccer or whatever, and then that's when we got a lot of response. So we kind of just did first come, first serve, but we kept them on the list. Didn't want to turn anybody away. So.
Another thing that I do is the activity spreadsheet. So this is a document that we actually do have shared with all of our social media interns and representatives, but we only have can view and can comment because
Okay.
if you get
Can't
somebody,
change anything.
yeah, because this takes a lot of time, so we didn't really want
Don't
to
mess it up.
change. So we just have the necessary information, date, opponent, location, who's doing the 24 hours prior to the event, so then parents can see, oh, this is tomorrow night. And then who's actually covering from the event, so who needs to be there watching or supporting or whatever. And the red events are events that have already happened. And then Ms. Johnson or myself, we try to go through Twitter and see which events have not been covered, so then we can email that person saying, hey, what happened? I noticed that we didn't get this event tweeted for or covered. And usually it's oh shoot, I forgot to check the spreadsheet, so it's no big deal. I mean, everyone's human, we understand that mistakes happen, but it's just an accountability thing as well.
And I'll say too with this, you'll notice a lot of these don't say done, but they're done. So, I don't know, like I know Amber, you've done all of yours, I think, haven't you? Yeah, and hers don't say done by them, but I feel like that's kind of gone away a little bit because they're getting done, I guess. And so, if we notice that they're not getting done, then we'll follow up on it. So I don't know if we might need a better way. I don't know, Amber, we'll have to think about that for next year, so. Okay.
At the top of your
Yeah.
spreadsheet,
Mm-hmm.
there was, be sure to,
Oh, to vary the use of graphics.
okay,
Yeah, and Carson, we'll go through Carson's part, but
yeah,
so
okay.
we have a lot of different graphics, and then we've used a lot of different things there too. So we'll show you that.
Yeah.
And then we also had to put on here, check the up-to-date schedule. I don't know if you guys use, I can't remember what this is called now in general. Our school, you guys use that? I don't know.
Our webpage
It-
has an activity.
it just has-
calendar, but I
Which
don't
links
know.
to that?
Is
It's-
it that one?
Okay, it's what all the ADs use, so when
Okay.
games have to change, like locations change, times change, something gets pushed back or rescheduled, it automatically changes. And so kids were using like a print poster, and then things weren't correct, so we had to direct them to this, always go here and check for updates. Man, we've had to reschedule how many soccer and baseball games this spring, so they've done a nice job of making sure that stuff gets updated, or trying to just tweet out, game has been rescheduled, so.
Okay.
So with your representatives, do you make sure that are all your representatives, like your golf representative, is that person part of the golf team, or they just get out for that day to go?
Part of the golf team, yeah. We haven't done any where the person gets out like extra for the sport. Our track person, she is a track student manager, so she's going anyway. And track's difficult, she has a lot of other responsibilities. Same with wrestling, they're doing like the track wrestling stuff too. So it's figuring out how much information do we share. But yeah, we haven't added where kids get out of school. I have had them use their passes to get into games free, but I don't know if they've really tried away games
Bryson and I did it the first one
at Bennington.
and Mr. Moody came and gave us $5 to go spend at the concession stand.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
the administrators got it.
yeah.
He's like, here, you guys can just have this. So we
Yeah.
can use it.
And so that's something, I think maybe as these start to evolve, it might be something that maybe schools reciprocate a little bit, or not, I don't know.
Does our yearbook only cover home events?
We can do both. And a lot of times, some people do, but we don't have anything like the press passes or anything.
Right.
And I think if you were doing Strive TV, well, we wouldn't be doing too many away games. You're probably gonna be there early enough, you're probably gonna get in, but.
Do you do ways?
No, we don't do anyways. We do like to put on our Twitter if the away team is broadcasting
Is doing their
theirs,
own.
so we can still tell people where they can watch it, but we don't go places to broadcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, sometimes I had one ask me this spring, what's this pass for? I said, you can try to get free popcorn. I always tell them to do that at our home games, go tell them to give you free popcorn. So I'm working with our AD on that, because when it gets like district games and stuff, they don't like to take the passes, any passes. So I did give our basketball people, I bought their tickets for the district games because they've done a great job all season, and they were there going to all the games, even though they weren't on the varsity team or anything. And one girl who did our girls basketball and our girls basketball team made state, she was on the JV team, but she went to the away games, and her mom took her to some away games and then to the state game just so she could tweet, so that was pretty cool.
I would imagine, like you were saying, it works good sometimes if they have a sibling. Like my son's a wrestler, but my younger son, you know, he would go with the family to watch his brother, but he could certainly have done
Yep.
broadcasting or the tweeting or whatever he needed to
Yeah.
do because he's there anyway.
He's there, right.
And what we've come to understand is that Twitter is a really good platform for parents to use if they're not at the sporting event. So like my dad travels for business all the time, so he can check Twitter to see how the games are going. So if you find a representative who understands the language, so like parents can understand what's happening,
Yeah,
that's beneficial.
that works good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're trying to get better at tagging people in it too, like tagging our sports people in it, and getting our reps to do that. I think that's something Ember doesn't know this yet, but Ember and I will be working on to have them do better. Like, we're really trying to tag the other teams all the time. One thing class, you know how when you're on Twitter and you start to type someone's handle in, it automatically pops up? On Class Intercom, it does not. So you have to have that handle, and Bryson will share to you some of the resources he's made, but maybe trying to even make something, were we talking about that yesterday maybe? Making something for each sport that would have like all the kids, all the girls on the soccer team that are on Twitter, that are at least your maybe your
Their
varsity
handles, so
people,
you've
their
got it.
handles. Yeah, so that she could tweet out like maybe who made the goals or who had like at Cam Opfer had a great save
Got it.
to win the game or whatever it might be, you know.
In Class Intercom, if you start typing a Twitter handle, it won't pop up.
Yeah.
So having
So
the
you have to
exact
know
Twitter,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's a lot to remember sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't always all make sense.
Yeah.
So these are just some examples of emails that I've sent out to people. So the first one is to the cheerleading representative, and I kind of call them like a compliment sandwich. So you want to start with something good, say something they can work on, and then finish with something good so they don't just feel like you're criticizing them. And also, it's very hard to get body language and what you actually mean over text message or email. So being super positive in an email is going to get a better reaction out of students our age than just being completely negative. So
Or adults.
yeah. So I told her that she's doing a great job with the cheerleaders, gave her some ideas of how she can improve it so there's more like cheerleading coverage on social media, and then told her again like you're doing a great job tweeting and all this stuff. And then one thing that I guess I've kind of noticed is not every student checks their email. Do you guys check your email all the time? Oh, you do?
Wow, look at them.
I guess it's just Seward then.
No, Pleasanton never checks theirs.
So, we've been kind of thinking maybe setting up a remind for the social media team because what student doesn't have their phone on them?
Text.
So, that's something that maybe you guys can incorporate into your schools is a remind system.
Yeah, we've been trying, we toyed with it and we set one up, but then trying to figure out who gets the reminds, who doesn't. Is it just fall or special groups? We had,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's on your list too.
I have a question.
The
It shows that you
the
use your
to-dos.
personal email, but do you have one that's just like the social media team email, or do you just use your personal ones?
Yeah.
So, it's our personal one through the school. So yeah, we just use our personal ones. There's no special email for the social media team.
We do have a school email that only a few of us have access to, like it's shsbluejays@sewardschools.com. We have a YouTube account that Jonathan set up for us, and a few other things that are just under that multiple people sign into. So we do have that, but students don't really have access to that. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
So positive reinforcements are a big thing for students our age because, I don't know, I guess in high school it's just nice to know that you're doing something good. So we've created these locker signs, and I don't think we have any, but it's a great way for not only positive reinforcement but marketing for the social media team, because if you're walking by a locker in the hallway, you look at the sign, oh, what's this? Should I be a part of it? So we created locker signs with the name of the representative, what sport they're representing, and just a little class intercom logo and stuff like that. So.
And on our lockers, I don't know if you guys noticed when you walk through, they can only have school-related stuff on their lockers. And right now there's kind of a lot of positive signs too, because we have a new Acts of Kindness club that's been doing some stuff. But so you see Lauren's, it has her softball sign. So if they're in sports or band, there's usually a sign on there. So this is kind of, again, one more way to get involved and have that recognition, which has been pretty cool. Did you want to tell about parties too?
Oh yeah. So we have been throwing little snack parties, I guess, for all of our representatives after each spring sport, and we try to do it around a holiday. So we did one before Christmas break, and then we did one for St. Patty's Day, and we just put together a little plastic, not like a Ziploc bag, but those decorative plastic bags, and throw some Hershey Kisses in there. We've used those little Christmas tree things that, what are they called?
Little Debbie's.
Little Debbie Christmas tree things, and a positive note to put in there. And it's just nice for students who are part of the social media team to get some acknowledgement that we know that they're doing a good job. So
That's kind of been a nice time just to touch base with them. When we did it in the end of second semester, Becca went through and she wrote them all out, but we kind of set a goal for everybody too. That took a lot of time, but that was kind of a good thing, I think, too. So those are just a few little things. All right, Jonathan, it's you.
All right, so I don't know if any of you guys are into video stuff. All right, good. So I'm in charge of the video production team, and it's so cool to see something that you and your friends made on a screen for everyone else to see. So that by itself is a really cool encouragement to kind of go out and do something like this. But like I mentioned earlier, we kind of just sum up the quarter with stuff that happened, or sports teams and activities like skills or FBLA, stuff like that, and then also just kind of things that students did if we can. We watched a video by Waverly that did a really good job. They would take this baseball and throw it, and then somebody else would catch it in the next scene, but it'd be a football, right? And then go into the football thing, and they were doing these really cool transitions. So that's what we kind of started with just to kind of incorporate all of the activities, but in a way where it connects with everything, to kind of show that we're a team as a student body, But one thing we did that was really, really good was at the end of my junior year, which was last year, we made a teaser video. And I'd recommend you guys, if you want to do something like that, you totally could, but a 1 to 2 minute video of, some activities, and kind of say, hey, we might be doing this next year, we are doing this next year. And it was just a cool way to kind of get into it a little bit. Obviously, we couldn't make a 5-minute video with the time we had left, but it was definitely doable. And I don't know if we have that one on the slides here. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
But it was just really cool, kind of a good starting basis for us. And then I realized later that I wasn't able to do all this by myself. So that's kind of why we started the video production team. And after the first main one of the first quarter, I kind of asked everybody like, hey, if any of you guys are interested in filming or editing and want to be a part of this, just let me or Ms. Johnson know. And we had a bunch of people come up and say, hey, I'd like to shoot some video or I'd like to edit some stuff. So I definitely recommend doing that as well, just to get some more people, because there are a lot of people that are doing that stuff, but you just don't know because it's all behind the scenes, video works. You really don't notice it until you ask people, hey, do you want to do something like this? But yeah, it was really, really fun and cool. And I think this quarter I'm letting them do most, if not all of it, so that way they can, get the experience, and I'll be there to help them if they need anything, but they can kind of learn on their own and say, okay, this works, this doesn't. That way when they do it next year, they don't have me, they actually know what they're doing, so.
And Jonathan even made a tutorial video for the students who maybe didn't know how to use the software.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've stepped up a lot in that way too. Did you guys want to see one of the videos?
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I also have a question. What kind of editing software do you use?
I use Premiere Pro. For my actual movies, I also use a little After Effects, I guess, but you don't really need to do anything like that for these. But there's kind of two types of videos that I made. One of them was just a highlight video, and then my favorite one was this little video we made last quarter for prom. And it was more like a movie type of thing instead of just a highlight video of all the sports. So we didn't get a lot of the activities, but so that's kind of a downside to it, but it was also a lot easier for me to edit, and it was just a whole a comedic approach to it, and everybody really liked it. So, and it was a video.
It was how to do prom post, yes.
Yeah, how to ask somebody out to prom, basically, and we had all these failed attempts at prom proposals, and it was really good.
Now, what's this one?
This one was,
Yeah, first quarter.